At last, we return to Oakleigh for the return of the NPL Victoria season 2021. The high-flying second-place Cannons have the luxury of Joe Knowles and Matt Thurtell, with 8 and 9 goals respectively, face the 6th-placed and FFA Cup qualified Port Melbourne Sharks. It's a finals clash, dynamic and intriguing here at Jack Edwards Reserve. I am your commentator, Neil Simons, to take you through the action, and we will bring to you the starting lineups for both teams, starting with the Oakleigh Cannons. Number 11, Wade Decker. Number 5, Oscar Dillon. Number 1, Nicholas Feely. The goalkeeper, number 23, Matthew Fascini. Number 10, Joe Guest. Number 28, Joe Knowles. Number 19, Oliver Kubile. Number 2, Thomas Matthews. Number 13, on the bench, Hamish Miller. Number 4, Anthony Panatopoulos. Number 31, Damon Stevens. Number 16, Adam Thompson. And now for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Number 16, Luke Barfarosh. Number 15, Christian Barbaci. Number 13, Valentin Sesnik. Number 7, Christopher Duggan. Number 4, Michael Eager. Number 12, Anthony Iancello. Number 11, Christopher Kiosis. Number 10, George Mells. Number 8, Matthew Natopoulos. Number 2, Emmeline Wellsmore. And number 1, Andrew Withers. Here we are. The NPL Victoria is back in action after a 2-week snap lockdown. And although it is behind closed doors, we are eagerly anticipating the outcome of this fixture between these two sides, with Avondale currently 1-0 up against St Albans. And it'll be Joe Knowles to kick us off. Or should I say Matthew Thurtell? Underway here at Jack Edwards Reserve for the NPL Victoria round 23. Port Melbourne in their white away kit. Of course, these two sides sharing the same colours. Christopher Duggan with a long ball down to Luke Barfarosh. Will he be able to latch onto it? In fact, it will be a very well-composed defensive awareness from Hamish Miller, the brother of Matthew Miller, currently plying his trade for the Newcastle Jets in the A-League. Matthew, of course, also played for South Melbourne and Dandenong Thunder in the NPL before returning to the Central Coast Mariners in the A-League. The NPL viewed as a stepping stone for many players looking to go up to the A-League. And, of course, what a wonderful week it was in Australian football. Last night, the Matildas securing a 4-2 victory against Great Britain in the Olympics. And the Olyroos with a relatively successful Olympics campaign, defeating Argentina. And of course, some of those players plied their trade in the NPL in their respective youth competitions across Victoria and New South Wales and Queensland. Feely goes long. Matthews with the header. A game of headers so far. It is KG and Joe Guest. Parries the ball down long and wide to find Joe Guest once more on the cutback. Joe Knowles. And it was an effective shot from Joe Guest to high and to left as well. Andrew Withers will be the one to take the goal kick. Withers, born in England, formerly of Eastern Suburbs in New Zealand. Also played in America for 3 years. Oakleigh applying the pressure at will. Effective as always. Of course, Oakleigh Cannons, they lost their FFA Cup clash against South Melbourne on penalties, 0-0 at the full time. And it was Nick Feely who was unable to make those saves, and Matt Fascini who missed his penalty as well. But Oakleigh in the league have been phenomenal, possessing the likes of Aaron Williams, who was a mid-season acquisition. Also Chris Lucas, who's not featuring in this contest. And Port Melbourne look to come away. Staccato motion for much of this opening phase. caginess is probably the best word to exemplify the first few minutes. And as Joe Knowles is brought down, formerly of ECU Joondalup in WA and Perth Glory. And he also played 15 games for the Perth Glory as well. So Tom Matthews will be the one on the set piece, looking to launch the ball into the 18-yard area. Number of tall strikers Oakleigh do possess. They haven't got really many small players or of that ilk. Tom Matthews, formerly of Hull City Youth and Boston United. Whipped in low, and it's headed away. We look to be headed into the 18-yard area, but it's cleared out very briefly, and Port Melbourne, to justify that clearance, earn themselves a free kick in their defensive half. It is behind closed doors, hence the absence of crowd noise. However, please do leave your comments down below in the NPL Victoria Facebook Live as well. Here comes Joe Knowles, whips it in low once more, and it's headed away again by Michael Eager, who's been such a defensive force for Port Melbourne this season. An unfortunate mistake made by Tom Matthews as Christopher Duggan looked to take the quick throw. It'll be Chris Kiosis who will take the throw. Eager overstepped. Look at Matt Thurtell applying the pressure on the goalkeeper. One-on-one situations have been something that Oakleigh have excelled at this campaign. The league, they've been quite successful. Their mid-season transfer window was quite fantastic as well, as here comes Port Melbourne on the edge of the 18-yard area. It's whipped in, and it will be, of course, Nick Feely who will handle it exemplary fashion. Emlyn Wellsmore holds to the midfield, and here comes the run of Chris Kiosis on the left-hand side. Options are plenty, waiting in the 18-yard box. He elects to go on the ground. Shapes it up for the shot, and it ends up going extremely high. And Oakleigh will have a goal kick. Of course, number 13, and Valentin Sesnik. Scored in Port Melbourne's FFA Cup tie against Sydenham Park, if I'm not mistaken. Duggan with the last-ditch effort to find Sesnik. Kiosis assessing his options and opts to go back to Sesnik, who turns. And here come Port Melbourne once more. With an eloquent back heel, ends up finding, well, Joe Knowles was brought down. He might be down long for a long-standing period. Of course, we are up and close into the action, as you always get in the NPL Victoria, further accentuated with the lack of crowd. Matthews. Withers ends up holding it very well, as well, Port Melbourne, they're shaped up pretty well. Adam Pettick's side. In fact, Oakleigh will capitalise on a mistake. Roll in central. Could he finish this? How? Oh, yes, it has been run in. Joe Guest, I believe, who got the last touch. And the Oakleigh Cannons open their account. Second on the table. Looking to solidify their spot in that position. Well, initially, it was the run of Matt Thurtell that spurred on the chance, and Joe Knowles whipped it in. I believe it was Joe Guest on the final touch. It almost looked as if that wasn't a goal. And it appears that the Port Melbourne defenders are calling for an offside. Nonetheless, 8 minutes into this contest, and Oakleigh do have the lead. Babachi faced a lot of pressure. Find Emlyn Wellsbore racing down that right-hand side. Opts to go centrally to Christopher Duggan. Ended up being cleaned up in the final stanza. Well, in fact, it was Duggan who cleaned up the Oakleigh defender. Duggan, we know, he's an elite scorer at NPL Victoria level, playing over 15 years in Scotland, and was born in Western Australia. A couple of Western Australian products in this lineup, Aaron Williams included. Of course, for Oakleigh. And we've just received confirmation in the last few minutes that MacArthur FC have sold Ollie Roux's product Denis Genreau to Toulouse FC in France. Genreau returning to his roots is a wonderful sign to see. And of course, the A-League expansion side making moves, very encouraging. Genreau plied his trade for Melbourne City's NPL side as well in recent years in the NPL 2 competition. Very encouraging to hear as we redirect our focus back to this contest. As I mentioned before, it's a very staccato affair. Aaron Williams looking to marshal his troops forward. Tom Matthews seems to be operating a very wide position so far. And, well, it appears as if Andrew Withers will earn the goal kick. Look at the Oakleigh press. So eloquent and wonderful. It's textbook NPL football. Reminiscent of those great sides in Europe. And Fashini looks to marshal the middle and will end up being won by Port Melbourne effectively in the middle of the park. And here comes Chris Kiosis. We know he's a experienced NPL product. In fact, he had the chance to build up his skill, the likes of Eric Lamella and Manuel Lanzini, Argentine, in addition to being Australian. Kiosis, obviously a very talented young, well, relatively young, he's 29. Here come Port Melbourne, Barfarosh. Well, hasn't he been a wonderful player to watch this season, the young Barfarosh? Not afraid to go in for a challenge and to impose his will early. That is the epitome of Barfarosh's demeanour on the ball. As we see Barfarosh, Emlyn Wellsball drags back and looks to drive the play forward. Ends up going in the middle of the park, and Sesnick was waiting there. Barfarosh is brought down, and in fact is awarded the free kick. Tumbles a few times. confirmation that Joe Guest did open the scoring. On a set piece here comes Wellmore. Wellsmore looked to drive in and was unfortunate and unlucky to not parry the ball into that 18-yard box. And, well, Oakleigh will force a turnover. And here comes the dashing run of Matt Thurtell. Looks to be one-on-one with Andrew Withers. Drags back Barfarosh with some fantastic defensive work. And look at Luke Barfarosh. How eloquent has he been in this contest? And now Port Melbourne on a counter-attack. Here they come through Christopher Duggan. Cessnick lofts the ball over to Luke Barfarosh. He's gone from end to end. Well, there was Matt Thurtell in a one-on-one situation, and, well, it is the inevitability that Luke Barfarosh was going to get back, and he did. Looked to be headed on there by Matt Thurtell. And George Mells holds it. Barfarosh brought down again, and Oakleigh will come away with it through Joe Guest. Joe Knowles, saved by Andrew Withers. Strong shot, straight at the keeper. Andrew Withers has had plenty to deal with so far in this contest, only 15 minutes in. And Joe Guest, we know how good he can be. The 2019 gold medalist for the NPL. Fashini. Matt Fashini! Over the bar. Matthew Fashini, formerly of South Melbourne, and the Melbourne Victory as well. Also plied his trade in Indonesia with over 140 appearances for the Cannons. Stalwart and very diverse in his play. Oakleigh, another turnover. This time it is Fashini. Back to Matthews. Finds a run of Knowles. Ends up winning the throw. Matthews up on the park, lofts it in the middle. Will be looked to be cleared away by Cessnick, who ends up drifting it away. But Aaron Williams will hold up play. Deflection right into the grandstand. And Tom Matthews will have it. Kiosis did well, and Matthews will hold it again. Tom Matthews, Matt Thurtell. Matthews again finds Knowles. On the outside of his boot, goes to Oscar Dillon. Miller. And Guess is brought down. Referee awards no free kick, and here comes Duggan. He was brought down again, this time, and that was Oliver Kubele. And a yellow card awarded to Oliver Kubele, formerly of Gotspur in Turkey. Or Gotsepe. Cessnick heads it on to Duggan. Aaron Williams was waiting. And Cessnick again. Last-ditch effort. Kiosis. Antonopoulos goes down to Emlyn Wellsmore, who's been a very sturdy and stoic presence in that right-back position. Matthew Antonopoulos. Kiosis. Here come the run of Port Melbourne. Kiosis drives inside. Oakleigh, intercept. And Dwight Decker twisting and turning. Intriguing from Dwight Decker. Strategy that he employed there. And now Port Melbourne playing very stop and start football. Stoic, one touch, tiki-taka. Joe Knowles. Tom Matthews. Chris Kiosis. Call for handball on Joe Guest. Joe Knowles. Lofted in again. Headed away. Kubele. Stutter steps and heads back. And Oakleigh will consolidate. Opting on the wings now. Here comes Joe Guest. Options in the middle, waiting for Matt Thurtell. And it's saved by Andrew Withers. And he'll look to drive it forward very quickly. In a one-on-one situation, Nick Feely grabs it. And Aaron Williams will be the one to marvel his side towards another goal. Kubele. Fashini. Kiosis heads away. Eager clears it away. High pressure situations in abundance here at Jack Edwards Reserve as Oakleigh earn another throw. And really it's just Port Melbourne who have been immensely isolated up top. Christopher Duggins had to do all the work in that striking position. Well, Joe Knowles was brought down. Referee wants nothing to do with it. And Emmeline Wellsmore will run it forward. Sesnick was waiting on the left-hand side. Duggan looked to have earned a corner briefly, courtesy of the deflection, but Port Melbourne regained possession. Babachi. The run of Barfarosh waiting. Dillon in a one-on-one. And a goal kick has been awarded. And well, Oscar Dillon, we have mentioned his name quite a few times this afternoon. Formerly of the Brisbane Roar and Western United. Played 7 games for Western United. And also in the COVID-interrupted NPL Victoria season, he went to Queensland to play for the Gold Coast Knights. Wade Decker. And there was Bombachi with the clearance. Hamish Miller. The floodlights come on. The eyes all fixated on this fixture. Floodlights are gleaming, I have to say. Or beaming. Whatever descriptor you'd like to utilize in that phrase. Fashini, one-touch football is eloquent, and well, Kiosis will hold it and opt to go to Sesnick. The left-hand side. Port Melbourne might look to break away here, courtesy of Sesnick. Sesnick drives in more, looks up for his options. He isn't met with a plenty. Kiosis, again, earns a throw. Kiosis. Sesnick. Eager. Drops in the middle. Barfarosh, the heavy touch. Looks for the second effort. Undying attitude Luke Barfarosh possesses. Oakleigh quite upset that the free kick wasn't awarded. And Withers will clear as far as Chris Kiosis has operated as a left wing back in many scenarios this afternoon or this evening. Has been effective in his role. You'd have to say. Dropping in between positions of left wing and left back, and Chris Kiosis once again on the ball. Misplaced pass by Kiosis, and Matt Thurtell will say thank you very much. Finds Wade Decker. Wade Decker earns the corner. Oh, Matt Fashini felt over, and Joe Guest looked for the secondary ball. And Andrew Withers will clear. And here comes Andrew Withers. His hand has been forced in many scenarios. Well, literally, his hands have had to come into action. Wellsmore. An exciting prospect, Emlyn Wellsmore. Formerly of the Brisbane Roar or Y League setup, and is also a New Zealand under-17 international. Well, there was an intriguing lofted ball from Matt Thurtell, tied up with Michael Eager in a 1-on-1. Eager, Kiosis. Now, Oakleigh have a knack for ensuring that Port Melbourne misplace their passes or winning back possession. In that scenario, Joe Knowles. Phenomenal effort. An effective and easy adjustment is the pressure that is applied that really scuffs Port Melbourne out. And that has been the difference maker so far. Tom Matthews, what will he do in this throw-in? Find Joe Guest, he will. Drive to tad dude deep, and then it will end up in the feet of Matthew Fashini. And Port Melbourne clear away. Luke Barfarosh racing to get onto that ball and finds it. Matthew Intomolopoulos, WA born, formerly of Inglewood United in the NPL South Australia, Western Australia. Well, here, Port Melbourne, free kick given away. It was George Mells who ran over the top of Oliver Kubele in a controversial decision. Personally, there wasn't much in that to render a free kick. Well, George Mells looks quite dissatisfied. Formerly of Fortuna Sittard in the Eredivisie, 31 appearances for Adelaide United. Easily one of the most talented midfield prospects in the NPL. Still pretty young as well. Wade Decker forcing Emlyn Wellsmore to ensure that he is just in his defensive decision making. And Andrew Withers will lap it up. his team in the US were nicknamed the Johnnies. That's a fun fact for those watching at home. And Port Melbourne under an awful lot of pressure from Oakleigh. Look at the midfield push up. And look at them track it back when Port Melbourne are in possession. Wellsmore with a fantastic lung-busting run drives it in central. Aaron Williams composed in that instance. There was Joe Guest faced by a flurry of Port Melbourne defenders. Thurtell, first time touch was fantastic, and Joe Guest was brought down, and the free kick is awarded. Emlyn Wellsmore bringing him down. Guest, Matthews. Fashini drops in and is brought down. Free kick to Oakleigh on the 30th minute mark. 3/4 of the way, well, 2/3 of the way through this first half. Joe Knowles is appointed the free kick taker in this instance. Has a belter of a right foot. Could we see Matt Thurtell latch onto it with a bullet header, or perhaps it might be played short to Joe Guest? It remains to be seen. Here comes Joe Knowles. Whipped in far. Aaron Williams with the first-time header. Oscar Dillon with the secondary whip. Joe Guest with a scuffed long-range effort. Sesnick. Patakiosis. And the run of Wellsmore waiting on that right-hand side. Eager. Sesnick. Composed play here from Port Melbourne. Composed as far as that. Misplaced pass from Port Melbourne. Miller. Cleared away from Port Melbourne. And that's really what Port Melbourne have to do. Play their passes short and play them effectively within a liminal space of time that they do have. You know, Oakleigh are going to impose their will in those attacking situations, press the play. And it's really the offensive shape that Adam Piddick needs to focus on in this afternoon as we head into another corner situation for the Oakleigh Cannons. The ball whipped in high. Oscar Dillon waiting at the far post. Fashini once again whips in. Joe Guest again with a scuff shot, but it ends up off the post. Can you believe it? Fashini drives in well. Fashini again. Matthew Fashini. Joe Guest is third time lucky. No, it is not. Andrew Withers holds it. That is the quality of Matthew Fashini. Multi-dimensional. So good at what he does. And Port Melbourne might utilise that added momentum to parry the ball forward. Matthew Intomolopoulos, and here comes Sesnick on the edge. Held up high, dug in. And Oakleigh will clear away, looking for the run of Matt Thurtell. Eager clears. Joe Guest will likely get onto it and is now tripping as Wellsmore earns the throw. You have to say that Chris Taylor is not too pleased with that effort. Chris Kiosis on the left-hand side is brought down by Tom Matthews, and that might be a yellow card for Matthews. It is. And Port Melbourne earned a free kick in an immensely dangerous situation. Could this be the difference maker? George Mells will be over it. They've got the defensive ability of Michael Eager waiting in that 18-yard box. And how important and pivotal would this be, Port Melbourne, behind the play in many instances. Have been unfortunate not to have conceded more than one goal in this contest. But for Adam Piddock, you'd imagine that this is a chance in which he deems pivotal. On a knife's edge in the top six, Port Melbourne. Here comes George Mells. Mells cleared away. Looked to have evaded plenty of Oakleigh defenders. However, Mells will opt for the high ball now. Eager with the header, and Nick Feely holds it well, the Irish international. English, so to speak. Thurtell holds up well. Kubalate did well as well there. And, well, Duggan, in frustration, throws the ball against the fencing here surrounding the pitch. Tom Matthews, high into the 18-yard area. Kubalate. Guest. Well, an unfortunate chance for Oakleigh goes begging as we are heading into the final 10 minutes of this first half. Thurtell with a wonderful flick on for Joe Guest. In transition, here come Oakleigh. Joe Guest, could he run it the left peg over the bar? Headed away from Williams, and Chris Kiosis looked to have latched onto the ball and is called back for a free kick. Tom Matthews. Christopher Duggan, obviously very upset with his team's effort thus far, and Duggan uses that to spur it on as motivation. Here comes Cessnick. Here's George Mells waiting in the middle, but Cessnick dabbles in, headed away. Mells cuts inside. Miller drives on the left-hand side. Here comes Hamish Miller. Wade Decker. And a one-on-one here with the Port Melbourne defender. And, well, Port Melbourne earned themselves another goal kick. Christian Bombarci was quite effective in that scenario. If you want to hear what passion is, listen to Christopher Duggan. Perhaps echo the words that he was screaming to his players. In a showcase of resilience, Port Melbourne will look to draw themselves level here at Jack Edwards Reserve in the NPL Victoria at round 23. Not often you have a 4:30 time slot on a Saturday afternoon. And Aaron Williams clears away. Chris Kiosis will hold the ball on the sideline. Bombarci and Joe Guest look to have won the ball, and Joe Knowles. Here comes Joe Knowles. Deflected shot and ends up cleaning up Joe Knowles. But ball was won first, so no free kick will be awarded. Oakleigh just struggling to really earn that one-on-one situation. Although, could this be it? Kiosis parries the ball back to Andrew Withers, and we will recommence play. Antonopoulos was brought down by Matt Fascini. A comprehensive challenge there. Michael Eager. Ball down low to Emmeline Wellsmore. Barfarosh pushed down, but the free kick is won by Oakleigh. Ryan Paszkowski, of course, out of this contest. Not featuring in today. He would be a welcomed presence in the heart of defence / midfield. A wing back by trade. Colourful personality, you love to see it. Former Mornington product. And there is a throat grab here from Chris Kiosis. Could this prove cataclysmic? Chris Kiosis holding the throat. Surely a cardable offence. Perhaps red cardable. Holding Joe Knowles' neck by the throat. Reminiscent. Reminiscent of John Cosmina and Kevin Muscat. You never want to see this in NPL football. And no cards awarded. No card awarded. Intriguing decision from the referee and his assistant. Usually that will be a red card in most scenarios, but nonetheless, play will continue. Joe Knowles doesn't seem too dissatisfied with that decision. Well, Joe Knowles is now remonstrating with the assistant, illustrating his frustration, and he has a little bit of chatter with Chris Kiosis on the sideline. Free kick awarded to Port Melbourne. Cessnick is the one. Here comes the high ball, header away, and Nick Feely didn't have to cope with that. Joe Knowles in a tussle, turns away eloquently. This is the power of Joe Knowles. And the speed and agility. And Tom Matthews heads away, was brought down in that challenge. And on the stroke of half-time, Oakleigh will earn themselves another key set-piece opportunity. Should they score, the game might be wrapped up. And it'll be, of course, Joe Guest on the set piece, utilising his left foot, or left peg. He's had about 4 long-range shots so far in this contest. 3 of them scuffed. But can his 5th foray into the 18-yard area be effective? Guest. And Oakleigh will earn themselves another opportunity by virtue of a corner. We're just waiting for the ball to come in. Many stewards waiting, and, well, it's hit the sideline. And Joe Knowles will whip it in from the left corner flag. Whipped in, headed away from Michael Liga. Fashini with a scuffed volleyed shot. Fashini will look at a second strike at the ball. As we enter stoppage time here in the first half of the Oakleigh Cannons versus Port Melbourne fixture. Port Melbourne winning their last fixture against the Cannons. But it's been the other way around so far. Oakleigh domination for the most part. Joe Guest. He ends up finding Joe Knowles, who switched wings to the left-hand side, was brought down. Free kick awarded to Oakleigh. And Joe Knowles will probably be in the 18-yard box on that effort. Scores around the grounds. We have a result in the NPL 3 with Preston Lions versus Oakleigh, or Preston Lions versus Box Hill fixture. Here comes Joe Guest driving, 18-yard box, and it could be the header for Matt Durtell over the bar. And Box Hill are 2-1 victors against Preston Lions. First half is called here at the Jack Edwards Reserve. Behind closed doors fixture between these two sides. It was an opening goal within 8 minutes for Joe Guest. That secured the first goal for the Cannons, as Port Melbourne, with plenty of work to do in the second half, isolated up top, misplaced passes in defence. What can Adam Pittock do for his side? For Oakleigh, is to add to that tally. We're back underway here at Jack Edwards Reserve for the NPL Victoria round 23. I'm your solo commentator, Neil Simons, to take you through this contest. Oakleigh Cannons up against Port Melbourne Sharks. It was an opening goal from Joe Guest. As the side of Port Melbourne struggled to adapt to the rugged press of Oakleigh. And in a very intriguing clash we had between Chris Kiosis and I believe Oliver Kubele. The throat was grabbed, the card not awarded. Underway here. Let's see how these two sides can adapt and possibly spur their sides on to victory. Port Melbourne, of course, possess a very rigid defence and a very dynamic fullback scenario with the like of Emlyn Wellsmore, Luke Barfarosh as well, and Chris Kiosis. Here is Wellsmore. George Mells has a professional touch to him, George Mells. As Luke Barfarosh's ball is deflected. You would have expected Adam Pittock to instruct his side to be more cautious, moving the ball forward, more calculated in their approach, holding the offensive shape in which they would like. Chris Duggan, obviously, the out-and-out striker, has dropped deep in many scenarios and hasn't really helped his team to score goals in that position. Should he opt to go higher, perhaps Port Melbourne would have more success. And here is an opportunity to earn some success moving forward, but that blistering run, or lung-busting run, not eventuating in a distinct attacking opportunity. Luke Barfarosh. Matthew Antonopoulos. Wellsmore looked to parry the ball forward, and Wellsmore holds it and drives the ball on the right-hand side. Emlyn Wellsmore, the former Brisbane Roar product. Wellsmore once more drives into the 18-yard box. Turns away. Port Melbourne shot taken. Feely saves and gets to it. A valiant effort from the Port Melbourne Sharks. And more specifically, let's talk about Valentin Cesnik. Has been so good. Anthony Incello has also been fantastic as well, driving the ball in the midfield. Hasn't perhaps had as many touches as first thought for Adam Pittock's side, but he's remained stoic, strong in play. There is the aforementioned Cesnik. And here comes Ian Cello. Drives away from his first man. Finds Wellsmore on the right wing. Antonopoulos. Thurtell intercepts, and Joe Guest will make the run inwards. Ian Cello. Decker. Kubele. Mells. Holds and lofts down to the left-hand side, headed away by Tom Matthews. Here comes Joe Knowles. Turns away his defender. And ends up losing possession to Port Melbourne. And Barfarosh centrally for Nantopoulos. So Port Melbourne are beginning to regain possession in the midfield. And this is a key proponent of success for the Port Melbourne Sharks. When they hold possession, they dominate. And this could be a key driver of a potential comeback for Adam Pittock's side. And, well, they were 8th placed many weeks ago, and they've now found themselves in 6th place. An improvement has been made upon the season. Yet the next steps to spur his team on to victory, more specifically Adam Pittock, tactically is very apt in the middle and very confident moving the ball forward. Knowles. In fact, here he is on a one-on-one. Michael Eager. Oh, he just twists around Joe Guest like it was nothing. Nantopoulos has got options with Wellsmore. Goes central to Cessnick. Holds up play. This is some better football from Port Melbourne. The final pass to George Mells wasn't effective and was cut out by Oakleigh, who loft the ball now to Joe Knowles. Barfarosh with the sliding challenge. Mells. Wellsmore. With a fantastic whip to find Christopher Duggan in the middle. And Tom Matthews clears away. That arced so well for Duggan's right foot. But he was unable to potentially score another goal in the NPL Victoria. Kiosis called for offside, potentially. And, well, Nick Feely was in all sorts there. Fortunately for him, it was called offside. Oh, there is a staunch tackle there. This might be a crucial decision to be made by the referee, a yellow card. Joe Guest standing over the free kick. Although it might be Joe Knowles to actually... No, he draws away. Joe Guest lofts the ball inwards. Oscar Dillon on the header. It eludes him, the ball. And Andrew Withers will clear it out once more. Finds Wellsmore waiting on the right-hand side, heads it. And that is actually going to be a throw-in called for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Miller. One of 9 siblings. Well, has 9 siblings. It's a very intriguing thing to hear. The Miller family, quite expansive, producing wonderful footballers, 2 of which play their semi-professional football in Australia. And Joe Guest drives it for Knowles. This could be it. This could be the second. And that's a wonderful outstretched leg of Andrew Withers, which keeps Port Melbourne in this contest ever so justly. Iancello and Mells with his trademark loft of ball down to both wings. Here comes Cessnick. And in fact, Aaron Williams gets down to it effectively. Oh no, though, he's been scuffed out. Here comes Cessnick to latch onto that ball. And Aaron Williams regains the possession. Inevitably, you'd have to say, Joe Knowles in a tussle with them and the Wellsmore. Will the foul be called? No. He's ended up being brought down this time. Well, Iancello was patting down Joe Knowles. You must presume that he does not believe that that is a significant injury. But Joe Knowles is down and receives medical attention now. Should Oakleigh dip into the substitutes, the array of talent that they possess will be key to Oakleigh's success. On the bench, they do have the likes of Tyson Holmes, one of the great players of the NPL. As well as Adam Thomas as well, a new acquisition from New Zealand. And, well, Nick Feely will drive it forward. Matt Thurtell keeps it in, however, for a Port Melbourne throw. Oh no, it would actually be awarded a goal kick to Andrew Withers and Port Melbourne. Michael Eager places it down for Withers and receives it back. Nice little 1-2 there, although not in play. Here comes Luke Barfarosh. Cessnick drawing away, assessing his options and playing it back to Withers. Withers, high and wide to Wellsmore. Well-timed first touch. Duggan with the back heel. Finds Wellsmore. In fact, that was Iancello who then drives it inwards and, well, inboard. Finds Chris Kiosis on the shot. Corner is earned. Port Melbourne looking very good in transition. It seems as if Iancello has provided that extra spark that you do need at this level. As we are reaching the 58th minute now in this contest, George Mells, the designated set-piece taker, well, he's really showcased his vast... His technique, you have to say, is sublime, especially on in-game scenarios where he lofts the ball to the left and the right sides. His footballing IQ is something to behold. Thurtell will call for handball from the Port Melbourne fraternity, and Withers will retain. Port Melbourne beginning to find their way into this contest. 60 minutes in, they are increasingly likely, they look increasingly likely to break their deadlock this evening. Misplaced headers like that won't do them too much in that department. The enterprising runs of Christopher Duggan have been audacious at times, and the press that Oakleigh applied in the first half doesn't really seem to have phased Port Melbourne thus far in this second half. Dillon on a 1-on-1 this time with Cessnick. Here comes Chris Kiosis. Lofts it inboard. Wellsmore waiting on the right-hand side. And he's faced with Joe Knowles. Wellsmore looked to turn in similarly to Matt Fascini in that same position in that first half. And Oakleigh will attempt to drive the ball in transition. Holds it up. Here comes Matt Fascini. Fascini and Tomanopoulos intercepts. And here, Port Melbourne will consolidate and look to build up play. It's high tempo now here at Jack Gator's Reserve. Joe Guest. Well, pass was centered towards Joe Knowles on that left-hand side. And in fact, we will get ourselves our first substitution of the evening. Chris Kiosis coming off for Port Melbourne. His replacement will be by way of Lathan Dunn. Today also marks the 4th anniversary of Les Murray's passing. It must be said, he is a pioneer of Australian football media and Australian football in general in this modern age. Championed the FFA Cup, championed NPL football, always fought for greater exposure of this game in this country, and partly is the reason why we're here today. Wellsmore. Well, how about that trickery? The footwork was phenomenal. And here comes Luke Barfarosh. Wellsmore. Oh, Joe Guest finds herself isolated on the left-hand side. Free as a bird. Finds Matt Thurtell in the middle. Poked forward. Not in the back of the net. There's another scuff chance. Joe Guest. Playmaking abilities. Unrivaled in NPL football. Left, right, centre. He doesn't care. He'll create opportunities at his will. An unrelenting attitude. That is the way that Oakleigh have composed themselves in the second half of the season, in which they've really rocketed up the table, well, by way of fortunate signings that they've made, but also by way of eloquent football that they've played. Miller. Chested. Decker looking to make an effort there. Dillon. Miller. Here comes Wade Decker, has struggled to find himself make a distinct impact, and Matt Thurtell will find on the edge of the area. And here comes Miller. Oh, Michael Eager. Positioning was superb there to intercept the ball and finds it at his feet still. The substitute in Barr. Almost getting his first touch of the afternoon. Of Dunn. My apologies, Lachlan Dunn. And Tomalopoulos goes down to Luke Barfarosh, now on his left side. We know he can move centrally. Hasn't showcased his trickery in abundance in this half so far, but we could expect more as we come towards the full-time whistle. And now Port Melbourne searching for gaps. We know that Oakleigh are holding a relatively solid defensive line, with Dillon and Williams partnering each other in that defensive line. Iancello. Wellsmore. Wellsmore again. What a fantastic run this is from Port Melbourne. George Mells looked to have it, but it'll be shot away. Defended so well from the Oakleigh Cannons. Withers. Matthews heads away again. Lathan Dunn has been a willy presence so far, following his introduction into this contest. There's cleared away into the stand. Williams heads back to Nick Feely, and he ends up holding it and kicking it out long and far, and the rain is now tumbling down here at Jack Edwards Reserve. How will this affect the play remains to be seen. Very fortunate being undercover here in the wonderful stands here at Jack Edwards Reserve. Nice little grandstand we have set up. Guest cleared away. And Oscar Dillon, the former Brisbane and Western United man, will clear it out. Thurtell heads on. Oh, here comes Wade Decker. Wade Decker twists and turns. Long shot taken. And that is Nick... it was Andrew Withers who made the save. Sesnick. Luke Barfarosh. Can Port Melbourne force something forward? Emlyn Wellsmore afforded a lot of time and space here. Will look to make a foray into the 18-yard box. He does so. Whipped in central. Williams on one knee clears it out. Aaron Williams. What a player he is. His brother Reese Williams ended up signing for Western Sydney Wanderers in the A-League, returning from his Saudi club. But Joe Guest makes a lung-busting run here. He's got Matt Thurtell on his right. His left, so to speak. Matt Thurtell draws it in. Offside flag called against Matt Thurtell. I'm not sure if you get these sights often in the NPL Victoria, but it is raining on the left side of the pitch. As dry as can be on the right side. The wind certainly playing its role in this contest. Duggan breaks away. Christopher Duggan, could he break away from his marker? Turns, and there is a corner to be awarded. No, it will be a goal kick. And there is shot away. Earlier today in the NPL Victoria, we had some results. The mighty side of Avondale FC, currently top of the table, won against St Albans 2-1, relatively comprehensively. Well, by way of a corner, St Albans paid one back in the dying stages. Direct corner as John Quoll enters the contest. We know John Quoll scored a winner in the opening few rounds of the contest, and that is Miller diving right into Wellsmore. And Wellsmore looks down. Looked to be a very brutal and ugly challenge there, and medical attention is needed for Emmeline Wellsmore. Arguably one of the best players on the pitch as well. Wellsmore has looked so good. As we wait, as the attention arrives, Hume City and South Melbourne are currently deadlocked at 0-0 apiece. Avondale getting 2 against St Albans by virtue of a Stefan Valentini double. And this, well, in the confines of the NPL, looking at the table at the moment, Avondale have a 7-point lead at the top, with Oakleigh Cannon sitting on 34 points should this result go the way of Oakleigh. The Bentley Greens sit third at 33, with Hume at 31. So the race for finals is still very close. South Melbourne, should they win today, would actually rocket themselves into the top 6, with Dandenong Thunder on 25 points as well. The Melbourne Knights just outside the top 6 on 26. So it'll going to be a very dynamic end to the season with 8 rounds remaining. But it's been a wonderful campaign, a wonderful return to football here in the NPL Victoria. This Oakleigh Cannon side, second on the table currently, but you can really set any of these teams apart. They're so inseparable. And Dylan clears as the rain is pummeling down. "73 minutes into this contest. Christian Babachi bucketing down here. Bombachi clears again, and John Quoll will latch onto it first time. Although Oakleigh will earn themselves a throw-in in a very key attacking phase for Port Melbourne. Should they equalise, it'd be a remarkable return to NPL football for Port Melbourne, as they've really dominated this opening phase of the second half. A goal is needed in this time. Barfarosh bucketing down here at Jack Edwards now. The rain overwhelming many players here. Sesnick. The floodlights accentuating the amount of rain that is pummeled down here on Jack Edwards Reserve. Thankfully, the pitch holds up pretty well as we are seeing another substitution. This time it will be Wade Decker who makes way, and on will come Tyson Holmes. Tyson Holmes, one of the best players in the NPL Victoria in past seasons, has had an injury cloud over him, but will look to adjust and to reconsolidate moving into the next few moments. Miller twists and turns, and that shot curls way away. Walsmore composed in possession and finds Michael Eager in Tabanopoulos. Luke Barfarosh. Can Port Melbourne get this crucial equaliser? George Mells this time. We see John Quoll up top. Matt Fascini intercepts and finds Joe Guest. And there is Hamish Miller stretching. Might have some cramp. Remains to be seen what it may be with 13 minutes of regulation time remaining. Joe Guest. Oh, that looked sublime. Shouldn't have reached the feet of Tyson Holmes. And Duggan in a tussle here. There is Hamish Miller who drew the foul. Now Eminem Wellsmore's down. He might need medical attention. Obviously, he remained on the pitch following that diving challenge. Wasn't really from the feet, but yeah, he's requesting a substitution, Eminem Wellsmore. His night looks to be up, despite a valiant effort on the right-hand side. Oscar Dillon. Lofts it to Joe Guest, who, well, that was a clearance from Port Melbourne, and Port Melbourne have conceded a corner. And we know that Oakleigh like to loft their balls to the far post, and should they be effective in that department, they might earn themselves a second goal. the ominous threats that they have in the 18-yard box includes the like of Aaron Williams and Matt Thurtell. Holmes heads down, finds Joe Knowles. He's whipped in again. And John Cole will look to race to it. John Cole looked to have won that challenge briefly. And Port Melbourne earned themselves a goal kick. Andrew Withers racing to pick up the ball. They've got 10 minutes to equalise. Should they equalise, what a wonderful fight back this could prove to be for the Port Melbourne Sharks. And there is Emily Wellsmore's replacement. And Joe Knowles, eager there. John Quoll, it's headed away. And now the slipperiness of the ball playing a role in this contest as expected. Pissac waiting. Wellsmore's replacement playing way up the pitch. Barfarosh, what a dashing run this is from Luke Barfarosh. Dinked it over every opponent, it seemed. Luke Barfarosh struggled to integrate himself into the Port Melbourne transitional play in the second half, but individual brilliance is something that he has in excess when he decides to utilize his playmaking ability. Agility is also a strong suit of Barfarosh. Joe Knowles. Joe Knowles was twisting and turning away and ends up earning the free kick. In fact, it actually will be Port Melbourne, and the player is down there, and this could be a serious injury. Withers bounces the ball in frustration, and the physio for the third time this evening has been called over. Currently 0-0 between Hume City and South Melbourne as well. Matt Thurtell has also come off, and on has come Chris Lucas. Dylan heads away. John Quoll might have an opportunity here to drive in. John Quoll cleared away from Aaron Williams. Whipped in again. Headed away. And Nick Feely will hold that in his breadbasket so eloquently as we head into the final 7 minutes of regulation time here at Jack Edgeworth's Reserve. The rain seems to have cleared up slightly. Not an excessive downpour as we previously were exposed to. But Port Melbourne are fighting here valiantly to earn themselves a point, with Oakleigh having a stronghold over possession currently. Kubile, lofted ball over to Joe Guest, who finds himself in that right-hand side position, and Luke Barfarosh will throw it in. Finds the feet of George Mells, who tips it over. And Joe Guest, lung-busting run on the left, right-hand side. It evades Chris Lucas. Asserted tap in there. Should he have found a strike? But Oakleigh will look for one more. They aren't satisfied with one. They want two to add to their goal-scoring stocks. Was Fashini brought down? The linesman has called for a foul, and Luke Barfarosh is the one to have earned the free kick. Tom Matthews, well, you could only wonder what he's thinking right now. The captain of Oakleigh, to marshal his men towards another victory in the NPL. They've had a very positive run. A strong hold over second place should they win. If they lose, they'll drop down into third or possibly fourth. Duggan and Oakleigh are right there to cover the midfield battle in ensuring that they aren't overrun in the midfield despite George Mells' heroics. Here comes Chris Lucas. One-on-one here. And drifts away from Andrew Withers. And Withers claims cleanly. Well, perhaps that wasn't the angle that he would have liked. And what a wonderful first touch from Christopher Duggan. Finds Sesnick. That's a corner for Port Melbourne. With 4 minutes to play. Tantalising football. Corner kick taken. Luke Barfarosh waiting at the far post. And that's a goal kick for Oakleigh. And they'll take their time here, Oakleigh. Nick Feely in no rush to take another goal kick. The downpour beginning to become more excessive, playing to Oakleigh's favour, the wind favouring the Cannons. An easterly wind, so to speak. Qual. Look to find the feet of Duggan, and here comes Oakleigh. Chris Lucas drives in. Chris Lucas with the one-on-one. Chris Lucas saved by Withers. Port Melbourne are right in this. He's had 2 strikes at the cherry, Chris Lucas, none of which have found the back of the net, the former Dandenong City man. Altona Magic, my apologies. Holmes in a tussle. Composed effort from Michael Eager. George Mells turns. Searches for the options on his right. Opts to go central. And Nick Feely will take his time again. Eager. Dillon. Dillon finds the ball at his feet again, although this time he'll earn the throw. Misplaced throw in, and that's a foul throw. The slipperiness of the ball playing into Port Melbourne's favour. Lathan Dunn. Will it be a long throw? Yes, it will. Qual headed on. Antonopoulos. Twisting and turning. Headed away. George Mells on the edge of the box. Parries it high. Barfarosh. They're confined in the middle, Port Melbourne. They need to stretch to play. And they will, or perhaps they won't. Oakleigh, heading into the 90th minute, might have a stronghold over this fixture as we await the linesman's decision on how many stoppage time minutes they'll be to be played. Sorry, the fourth official will decide how many minutes will be played. Every effort exerted to ensure that Port Melbourne can somehow equalise in this contest. 5 minutes of stoppage time allocated in this one. Into the edge of the area. Antonopoulos. What can he create? Eager. To Barfarosh on the left-hand side. Lathan Dunn waiting in the middle, but John Quallers as well. Turned away from one defender, couldn't turn away from two. Quall lofts the ball in. Calls for handball. Could it be it? No, it is not. And Oakleigh will come away with it in transition. Here comes Joe Knowles. Will he run it to the corner flag? He might. Or will he go inside? Joe Knowles driving into the 18-yard box. And Andrew Withers makes the save. Oakleigh earn a corner for themselves. That handball decision will be talking about or spoken about for the rest of this half as a could-have, would-have scenario. And Oakleigh in no rush here. They might play it to the corner flag. Tyson Holmes. Guest. And Port Melbourne need to take the throw quickly here if they have any chance of restoring parity. Quall. Knowles. Antonopoulos is not too pleased with that. And now Oakleigh apply all the pressure in no rush to ensure that these two sides remain one goal apiece. Duggan. And Dylan clears Port Melbourne in a corner. Will or not, it went so high you would have thought it would have been a corner, but here comes George Mells, who lofts it into the 18-yard box. John Quall again. And it's cleared. Joe Knowles. It's cleaned up there, and that might be a yellow card for Port Melbourne. Yes, there will be a yellow card allocated to Dayden Pissack. Oakleigh will hold on here. South Melbourne and Hume City remains a draw at the halftime break. Eager clears away. Look at Port Melbourne running like there's no tomorrow. This might be one of their final chances in this contest. Barfarosh. And Guest. And Barfarosh again. Port Melbourne's attack firmly in the 18-yard box. As the whistle is blown, the Oakleigh Cannons, second on the NPL Victorian table, take down a potential finals opponent in the Port Melbourne Sharks. It was an opening half goal from Joe Guest. And despite Port Melbourne's added pressure in the second half, it wasn't enough as Chris Lucas's side, well, the run continues. An impressive run at that. Second on the table, I've been your solo commentator, Neil Simons, who has taken you through this contest. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you very much. And until next time.